4th, 2019, Elijah McCain was walking home from his local convenience store. A passerby noticed Elijah wearing a ski mask, flailing his arms and listening to music. They called 911, although they told the dispatcher they didn't believe anyone was in danger. Elijah routinely wore masks when outside because he had anemia and became cold easily. When officers arrived and tried to stop Elijah, he continued walking and said, "I have a right to go where I'm going." When an officer touched him, Elijah said, "I'm going home. Leave me alone. Let me go. No, let me go. I'm an introvert. Please respect my boundaries." A struggle escalated, and 3 officers wrangled Elijah, who weighed 140 pounds, towards a lawn, threw him against a wall, and tackled him to the ground. One of the officers applied a carotid control hold around Elijah's neck, while Elijah cried and pleaded, "Ouch, that really hurts. I'm so sorry. I don't have a gun. I don't do that stuff." At one point, an officer spotted another officer's body camera, pointed at him, and said, "Move your camera, dude." Elijah was handcuffed, and medics injected him with ketamine to sedate him, a dose appropriate for a man much larger than Elijah. He suffered 2 heart attacks while taken to the hospital. He was pronounced brain dead on August 30th, 2019. He was just 23 years old. None of the officers or medics present at the scene were charged or held responsible in any way. We need justice for Elijah.
Happy birthday! Happy late birthday! Happy super late birthday!
Nice! Wait, really?
No, really?
I was like, no way, this is a luau party. There
you go.
Wow.
It's been nearly a year since Elijah McCain died after a struggle with Aurora police officers. He went into cardiac arrest after he was put into a carotid hold and was administered medication to calm him down. Today, Aurora police announced officers would no longer be allowed to use the technique some describe as a chokehold.
I understand the reasoning of the city manager to make that no longer authorized, and I support his decision.
Interim Chief Vanessa Wilson also announced officers must give verbal warnings before firing their weapons and must intervene if they witness other officers using excessive force. The new directives come after weeks of protests against police brutality.
The public is demanding that, and we work for the public.
It's become obvious over the last several days that we have a trust problem in our community.
Curtis Gardner sits on the Aurora City Council. Today, he and 2 other members signed a letter asking for an independent investigation into the death of Elijah McCain. The city is already conducting what it calls an independent investigation, being done by attorney and former police officer Eric Daigle. Daigle was not an officer in Colorado. Councilmember Angela Lawson says the current investigation isn't independent enough.
Mr. Dangle, in my opinion, is not independent. He has a direct connection to law enforcement. So I'm not sure if the trust of the community and what he's going to be representing is going to be true transparency.
As council members advocate for a new independent investigation, Mayor Mike Kaufman says new facts uncovered by the current investigation could be presented to the prosecutor.
If in fact something new is found, and the district attorney has already said that he would reopen the case.
Something Aurora Fire says is standard protocol around our region.
Stop. Stop. I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious.
You don't need to be sensitive.
Grab your gun, dude.
Stop, dude.
All right. Just drive it right behind his ear if he fights, all right?
Now, Aurora police insist they are not the ones who requested the use of ketamine. It was Aurora paramedics. McCain went into cardiac arrest on his way to the hospital. He died 6 days later.
And according to an autopsy, the coroner could not determine how McCain died and wouldn't rule out homicide at the hands of Aurora PD, but added it may have been physical.
Is now examining the 2019 death of Elijah McCain, a 23-year-old black man who died in police custody. This renewed scrutiny comes after more than 2 million people signed a petition demanding an independent investigation. This is the body cam video, the police body cam video of the interaction that ultimately led to McCain's death. Watch this.
Stop. 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 I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious.
Well, okay.
Turn around.
No,
Turn around.
actually, your hands, bro.
Turn around.
Stop.
Stop tensing up, dude. Stop tensing up, bro. Stop tensing up.
Let go of me.
Stop tensing up.
Listen to me,
Stop tensing up.
No, let go of me.
Stop tensing up.
No, I am an introvert.
Stop
Please respect the
tensing up.
boundaries that I am speaking.
Stop tensing up.
Stop.
Relax.
Stop. I'm going home.
Relax, or I'm going to have to change this situation. Stop.
Leave me alone.
Stop.
Can you please? No, can you leave me alone? No, we're gonna. First off, you guys started to arrest me, and I was stopping my music to listen. Now let go of me. Let's get over the grass. Lay you down.
All right, that's hard to watch. CNN's Omar Jimenez with the latest on this story. Omar, again, another story more than a year in the making.
24th, 2000 of Denver, and police basically were responding for what they were told was a suspicious or a 911 call of suspicious behavior by someone in a ski mask. So you saw those initial moments of those officers making that approach in body camera. Then next thing you know, there's physical entanglement. They're grabbing Elijah McCain. Elijah McCain seems to be just confused about what's going on. You hear him at one point saying, "I'm an introvert. Please respect my boundaries," saying he's just going home. Well, then things escalated from there, and he eventually ended up in a chokehold by police where he briefly lost consciousness, according to the initial police report. Then when he regained it, they said the struggle continued. Later on, paramedics were called after that brief loss of consciousness, and according to the report, ketamine was administered, which was basically to sedate McCain. Well, he had a heart attack on the way to the ambulance and was declared dead 3 days later. Now, all these 10 months later, we have seen more than 2 million people sign a petition to reopen and re-examine this investigation. And here's how the family attorney is reacting to that.
It shouldn't take millions of people signing a petition, and it shouldn't take international media attention for elected officials to do their jobs.
And the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, released a statement saying public confidence in our law enforcement process is incredibly important now more than ever. A fair and objective process free from real or perceived bias for investigating officer-involved killings is critical. I'm hearing from many Coloradans who have expressed concerns with the investigation of Elijah McCain's death. As a result, I've instructed my legal counsel to examine what the state can do, and we are assessing next steps. Now, on top of the state investigation, the city of Aurora also says they plan to launch an independent investigation, and this is among the many cases that have now received new scrutiny in the wake of the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others. Again, the fuel to many of the protests that we have seen nationwide for about a month now.
Developments in the Elijah McCain case, this out of Aurora, which the Fox 31 problem solvers have been following quite closely, as you probably know, for months. The Change.org petition demanding justice for McCain now has more than 3 2.3 million signatures. Investigative reporter Lori Jane Gliha live now to tell us who else is getting involved. Lori Jane.
Well, it's the governor, Aristea. He tweeted today that he's hearing from many Coloradans who've expressed concerns with the investigation of Elijah McClain's death. Governor Polis said he's instructed his own legal counsel to examine what the state might be able to do, and he says the state is assessing the next steps in this investigation. Meanwhile, the Aurora City Council is taking its next steps in developing its own independent investigation. You'll remember the city fired the independent consultant recently because they worried he would not be unbiased. Council members sent a letter to the city manager today telling him that time is of the essence in this case. They requested a formal discussion and presentation and recommendations for this investigation by July 16th. Meanwhile, the Aurora mayor called for a council vote as early as the 6th of July related to this investigation. I'm Lori Jane Gliha, Fox 31.
Gotta be kidding me. No!
I would like now, I know a lot of you have received this in the press packet, and I can tell you all this is very disturbing, these photos, and I want to go ahead and put this so that the camera can zoom in on the first photo, and then I will show the other photo. So the officer in the middle of this photo is Jared Jones. He is the one that resigned on Tuesday. The other two are Kyle Dietrich and Erica Marrero. Is that sufficient time? Tilt it forward, sure. Just let me know when you're ready. Okay. The one in the middle with a ball cap. Is that good, sir? Okay. This photo is 1,000 times worse than the first of the smiling at the memorial. This photo, they are actually reenacting. Is this a good down? Yeah, they're actually reenacting a carotid control hold. Let me know when you're ready, sir. Good. Okay. It's reprehensible, and that's why they no longer work here.
We are fighting a mentality. We are fighting a culture of rape, of murder, of aggression, of patriarchy. We're going to stand in this place and we're going to take the show on the road. So if you're going to be with us, we will be back here at 6 p.m. Time's Up, APD. That is the name of the march. The time is now, right now. One love to PSL, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. They have been with us since last year. I appreciate them. Give them a round of applause, y'all, because they've been standing for Elijah. All the women, all the people here commanding space, all of our allies, give yourselves a round of applause because we appreciate you, we love you, we need you. Tonight is the night that we get together once again. We're going to command space. We're going to march down to the municipal center. You guys join us. After we leave from here, go get something to eat, come back. Let's join together as a unity. One love, one tribe. Elijah McCain, get him in the air, y'all. It's for Elijah. We're going to do it for Elijah McCain. That's who this is for. We're going to get justice for Elijah McCain. APD, time's up.
Thank you again for coming out. I want to reiterate to the crowd something that has been a conversation amongst us, the core group who are constantly questioning. One of the things that has been lost in all of this, in the debauchery of trying to make Elijah a million different things that Elijah simply was not, was to honor Elijah's life, to honor the love that he had, the compassion that he had for others. The spirit that came with Elijah has to exist within this. We must take love in order to create the revolution. You can't even spell the word without it. You cannot. It is impossible. And so I say to you, if it were you, if it were your child, don't wait. Don't wait anymore.
Don't wait till it's your daddy.
We stand united. We stand together. We bring you all with us. We ask that you stay with us and stand with us. Do not allow Elijah McCain's life to be in vain. Do not. As they put their knees on our necks, we must put our foot on theirs. That's right. We are more powerful as a people than they are. We must rise. We must rise now. We are stronger together than we ever have been defeated. Do not allow divisive behaviors and techniques to happen. Take our power back. Social media is our lifeline. When you come out to these events, you put it on. You keep the eyes of the world on us. Fight, Colorado. Fight. Fight, Colorado. Fight, Elijah McCain. Say his name. Elijah McCain. Say his name. Elijah McCain. Time is up, APD. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. Hello. Excuse me, it's Candace Bailey, CandiceBailey. Sorry, I should have said it first for you. So I'll say it again. So it's Candace Bailey, CandiceBailey.
Do you have, I remember you talked to Vanessa early on when these photos first came out, when she was aware of them. Do you think she did enough?
No.
What else did you want to be done?
Well, first of all, this happened in October.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago. A long time ago.
But we heard her say in the press conference she wasn't the police chief at the time.
Well, she's been the police chief since, so did it disappear suddenly? The department got amnesia. Here we are at another white supremacist tactic. They lost it, couldn't find it. They changed. We must cut this onion in half. Are we going to cry? You damn right we're going to cry. Everyone should cry. The onion is strong. There's so many layers of bureaucracy and white supremacy involved. Vanessa Wilson made that very clear. However,
rowboat and a crowd official here.
I'm going to call get you an IP number.
I can call and get that.
Now, I know a lot of you have received this in the
Give me 1 second. We moving a little slow here. Let people come on the live first. Get the live one. I don't even know what to do with the batteries. Oh man, we're gonna cancel the live. Alright, I guess we was trying to let people come in, so people come in when they come in. I'm just gonna give like some thoughts about the St. Louis couple and social media, Breonna Taylor and Elijah McCain. Some thoughts on that. But let's start with the social media thing in St. Louis, because you can look at it like, we can look at it like they was protecting their property, but you got to understand in this day and age, older people, for some reason, we have let social media fuck up our brains. We have. You know, we're acting like little kids on social media, and I'm going to tie this into St. Louis, but listen to what I'm saying. Here we are, 35 and up, and if we disagree with someone on social media, or if we don't like something on social media, what are we doing? We acting like 20-year-olders and down. We don't agree with someone's opinion on social media. Instead of just scrolling or listening or watching it and moving on about our business, what we do, we block the person. Ain't that some 20-year-old behavior? Like, if we even engage in a conversation, we'll start calling each other names, and we like 35, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. And we acting like little kids on social media. And then we wondering why the kids are acting like they're acting on social media when you got us acting like little kids on social media. That we just can't have a conversation, and if we don't agree with someone's opinion, because you got to understand, my opinion on social media doesn't affect nobody. You can read my opinion or watch my video on social media and go about your business. It doesn't affect the world. That's just my opinion. But you get so upset at my opinion that you want to call me names, or if you actually know me in person, you want to block me. You know me in person, been hanging with me, you know what type of person I am. I have broke bread with you and did all types of stuff, but you want to block me on social media because I express an opinion that you don't like. That's asinine that grown people are acting like this. And you might say, what does this got to do with St. Louis? Well, you didn't think it crossed those people's minds that this is a great way for us to get famous? Because, you know, even though Black Lives Matter is trending, white people are secretly funding white racists. So if you want to get money from white people now, all you got to do is be seen in opposition on social media to Black Lives Matter. And then the white racists will fund you. So there was a video on here about a Hispanic lady who worked at Party City, and people got upset viral, and then these white racists will fund me. Look at all the police who got fired. They have got money from white racists. So people are not stupid. People know how to get money. Like there was a story about a black lady, a black sister who wanted to go to college, and she tricked the Trump supporters into paying for her college. See, these people, they're not stupid. So this was the perfect opportunity for them to go out in the yard. They knew those people wasn't coming from them. To go out in the yard and get viral. This man is speaking on CNN right now. This man has become a valuable people who are tired of the riots, tired of the protests. This man is a hero. So whatever this man needs, those people are going to give him, even though he's rich. See, y'all make people famous. You could say, why didn't the protesters just look and just keep moving? Like, man, forget you. But we're in this culture where we make people famous. Like, if you go viral, whether it's good or bad, you become famous to someone. You know, in the print industry, in the newspaper industry, they say no publicity is bad publicity. No publicity. So sometimes people just do stuff to get their names out there. Ask yourself, would you ever have known who these people were if they didn't do what they did? They had to know in this culture. You have to know that these Karens and all of these people have to know that you're going to go viral for your racism, but they don't care. They just want to go viral. It's like a drug. Social media is like a drug to some people. They have to have it. They have to have those likes, those they have to have it. They own social media every day. And you see them posting asinine stuff because they want to get a rise out of people. And that rise feeds that drug. That rise feeds that high, I should say. It's like social media has become a drug to us. You got people who, some people don't even want to get paid to get nude on social media. They just like the attention. I know y'all see women. This is the craziest thing to me. Women be like, don't come in my DMs. Don't come in my DMs. But then you post yourself naked. And a bunch of horny men start coming in your DMs and they start leaving comments. And it's like, why are you posting yourself naked if you don't want this type of attention? What's the fascination? You just want to be an exhibitionist? If you want to be an exhibitionist, you could do that in your home. But you're posting the pictures on Facebook. And not only are you posting them on social media, you're making your page private, you're making your page public. And then you're just accepting any Tom, Dick, and Harry as a friend. So you enjoy the attention. You like the attention. And then you're not just, you're posing in sexually prerogative poses in underwear and with your breast out and your ass out. But then you got the nerve to say, stop DMing me. I'm not a hoe. But you sure are donning the uniform of a hoe. And if you didn't like the attention, you could easily make your page private and then go through your friends list and find out who you really know. And those you don't know, you could delete them. It's all an attention game. We have become attention-seeking whores. That's all it is. We have become attention-seeking whores. And it's just not, it's not a race thing. It's in all races. And it's in all economic classes. Again, no publicity is bad publicity. I bet you those guns weren't even loaded. Did you see the way they was holding the guns? I probably could have ran up and bitch smacked one of them and took the damn gun. They didn't really want no problems. And they knew they wasn't going to get no problems. They just wanted to go viral. Now, this man is on CNN. He's on Fox News. He's making the news circuits. And he's getting his name out there. And people who are tired of the money in that, but they're putting money into this man's GoFundMe right now. Or this man's for this man. This man probably just made him an extra $100,000 by him and his wife by doing that. They probably made them an extra $100,000. They probably could care less about Black Lives Matter. Probably could care less about all them protesters protesting back and forth, going to the mayor's house. They don't care. People are going to find opportunities to go viral. I had a girl contact me and tell me she was going to make me go viral for my opinions on Breonna Taylor. I said, let's do it. Make me go viral. I'll put $100 up and we could debate it. Make me go viral. Viral is not a bad thing in this world, whether it's for good or bad, because you know why? Someone's going to support your position. And especially, there's a lot of people who don't like what's going on, but they're afraid to say it. So if you're one of those persons that can get out and say what they're afraid to say, they're going to support you. Why you think Candace Owens is still going strong? Y'all really think Candace Owens believes what she says? And she says that, and I know I didn't put I was going to talk about Candace Owens, but let me get into Candace Owens real quick. Candace Owens says that she's saying this stuff about black people because she cares about black people. No, she don't. No, she don't. Candace Owens is like Tommy Sotomayor. All of these black conservatives who say they're saying all of this stuff about black people because they love black people. First of all, none of them are married to black people. Go look them up. Any black conservative that you see that's out here making YouTube videos talking, saying that they only, besides myself, that I'm not a black conservative either. But all of these black conservatives who are saying they're pointing out truth, they are pointing out truth. But we got to question their motive for pointing out truth. They're not married to black people. So why are you out here trying to wake black people up if you didn't even marry one? Because the things they say on YouTube, let's face facts, people. YouTube is a white man's game. You got to cater to white people on YouTube. And if anyone's white's talking to me, I ain't putting you down. But that's the truth. You got to cater to white people on YouTube. All the black channels on YouTube are falling. There's not a lot of, there were some good black YouTube channels, but they didn't get the support because they didn't cater to white people. You have to cater to white people on YouTube if you really want the money and the support. You gotta, even if you don't cater to white people, you gotta have some type of drama in your YouTube. If you're not gonna go out and attack another black person on YouTube, because black people like to see that too, you're not gonna make money. So all of these black conservatives that y'all, Candace Owens, Officer Tatum, ABL, I don't really know about ABL, the Conservatives twins, Amazing Lucas, I don't really know about Amazing Lucas, but some more, they're married to white people. But yet they talking about they want to help black people. Well, first off, if you're going to talk bad about black people, at least be married to one. If not, give positive solutions. But Candace Owens' whole thing is she don't care about black people. I'm not saying she doesn't speak truth, because she speaks some truth. But it's not about black people. It's about this. That's all it's about. All of these women stripping. They don't want to strip, but OnlyFans page, it's easier than going to the strip club. You in the safety of your own home, and you stripping naked, and no one's touching you, and fools are paying you from $10 to $30 to see you get naked. And I don't understand why, because porn is free. I would never join someone's OnlyFans page to see something that I can go on the internet and watch porn do. I'm not gonna do it. You know, that's just me. I'm not gonna do it. But I'm just telling y'all, man, this shit, people are just saying shit to get famous. Just to get famous and to get money. Candace Owens announced that now she might run for a position in the Congress. It's crazy, man. Y'all got to understand when people talk. You got to understand what is your motive for telling truth? Because that's all you. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been into an argument with someone and you start telling, we're talking about what you just did, but now you want to deflect it and talk about me. So now you got to wonder, okay, this person's bringing up stuff from the past, you know, way back last week, last year. Now you got to wonder, what is your motive for telling the truth? Even though it might have happened. What is your motive? The motive of that person for telling you the truth is to deflect from what they just did. So we always got to question not the truth, because sometimes people be telling the truth, but we got to question the motive of why they're telling the truth, because the motive might not be good. And people like pimps, when they pimps, what they do is, you know how pimps do, try to treat you sweet, wine and dine you, make you think chivalry's alive, because they sucking you in. They sucking you in. Then when they got you, they're gonna tell you the real motive for what they did. So we gotta be careful, you gotta be careful when, like I was telling someone, they was like, oh, I met a man, he was real chivalrous, he was opening doors, pulling out chairs, he was doing everything I wanted to do. Come to find out the man had a girlfriend. And I was trying to tell the person, I'm saying, that's not what men do. Now, men can be chivalrous. Yeah, we can be chivalrous, we can open doors, pull out chairs, but we not always gonna do what you wanna do. Every time we see you, we gonna do what you wanna do? Nah. When someone is doing that, you gotta start really questioning that person. Because when someone like a man, ain't nobody gonna do what you wanna do every time they see them. Every time you see them. They ain't got no suggestions. Oh, I want to go do this today. They just like, whatever you want to do, baby. We gonna do whatever you want to do. Nah. That's when I gotta start looking hard like, okay, what's your motive? Because this ain't normal human behavior. Don't no one automatically always do what another person wants them to do. You too happy to take me out everywhere I want to go. You too happy holding doors, pulling out chairs, washing my car. Nah, man, nah. That's why you gotta understand. You gotta recognize game, because game is game, man. That game, you gotta understand game. When motherfuckers will sell you a fairy tale, and that shit'll turn into a nightmare. But if you don't understand the game, you will buy that dream, and it'll be a nightmare. Because there's just certain things in human behavior that people being genuine are not going to do. I'm not, and I want to be a chivalrous man, but I ain't always going to do what you want to do every time I see you. That's just not going to happen. Every time I see you, I'm going to do what you want to do. Nah, that ain't going to happen. And that's just coming from a man. Most men will agree with me like, nah, man, I ain't going to do everything a woman wants me to do. But let's get into this Breonna Taylor story. Now, what I said about Breonna Taylor that got me in trouble with someone threatening me to go viral was, I said Breonna Taylor was selling drugs to the black community, but we out here yelling Black Lives Matter. Now, this is a problem in the black neighborhood. We're protecting criminals. Like the transgender that the LGBT community wants us to go out here and riot for and protest for actually stabbed somebody. You can actually go on YouTube, if I could remember his name, and watch the transgender man on YouTube talking shit about getting jumped and what he was going to do to somebody. Now, to say the cops shouldn't have killed, now we could all say the cops shouldn't have killed him, maybe there was a better way. But I'm not going to put my life on the line or go out and protest for someone who just killed another black person. I'm not going to do that. And what hits a chord with people when you talk about drugs is because most people sold drugs. Well, and it's not a religious statement, but even in the Bible, Paul killed Christians, but Paul turned from killing. Now you could sell drugs, but if you turn from that lifestyle and become productive and help save the black community, we can't hold selling drugs against you. Or even if you just stop selling drugs, we can't hold selling drugs against you because you don't do that. You did that in the earlier point of your life. But the problem is this. You must admit when you were selling drugs, you was an enemy to black people. Be real about it. We can't say, we can't try to cover up what we did. If you sold drugs and you was younger, at that point of your life, you was an enemy to black people, and you got the opportunity to change your life around and become a valuable member of the black community. Malcolm X. Before Malcolm X become Malcolm X, he was an enemy to black people because he was doing negative things. But he was able to change his life around and become redeemed. We see a lot of people who can become redeemed. But if you die in the period of you selling drugs, we can't hold you up as a hero. We can say your death is fucked up, but we can't hold you as no hero. You was an enemy to black people. You was killing black people. And I know a lot of people would like to say, well, no one forces no one to. Right. That's real. And I'm going to get to that point. My man D said, that's the shit that kills me. We protest the police killing us, but don't mention the hundreds of us getting murdered in these streets by black people. And that's real. So if you die in that state of whatever you doing that's hurting black people, we can't hold you as no hero. Because let's face facts. People don't see the destruction that drugs do. You just think that you selling drugs to a drug addict, but you're not. That person, probably a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, an uncle, an auntie, a grandparent, anything. And that person is taking that disease back to the family. I know I had crackheads in my family, and they lived with my grandma, and my grandma would go buy a VCR. This was when crack was bad. VCR come up missing. I would leave a Walkman around. Walkman comes up missing. Come back. If they see you with money, let me borrow some money. I'm gonna pay you back. Pay you the money back just to borrow it again. So crack has a negative, drugs, period, have a negative effect on our family, on the black family. So if you're selling drugs to black people, you're creating a destruction in the black community. Two ways. For one, because to sell drugs in the black community, you got to be ruthless. To sell drugs, period, you got to be ruthless. Or you got to be connected with someone who's ruthless. Because you just ain't going to sell drugs and make money and no one's going to come get it. And someone's going to watch you make money and they ain't going to try to come get it. So you got to have someone around you who's pretty ruthless. So then you have black on black. That's where you have a lot of killings in the black neighborhood also. So if the case of Breonna Taylor, now you gotta want to use facts over emotions. The news didn't tell you the whole story. The news put out enough to make you race bait. Now if we look at Breonna Taylor's case, and I'm just giving facts that you can research. The news told us Breonna Taylor was shot sleeping. Breonna Taylor was shot in the hallway. The news told us that Breonna Taylor's name wasn't on the warrant, that it was a botched warrant. Breonna Taylor's name and car was on the warrant. And if you don't believe me, ask yourself this. Why would they get rid of no-knock warrants if it was a botched warrant? Even if it wasn't a no-knock warrant and it was a botched warrant, shit would have went south. But they got rid of no-knock warrant. So that's really signifying to you that it was not a botched warrant, that it was the right house. Now, if it was a no-knock warrant, they have to get more than just everyone's like they lied to get the no-knock warrant. The postmaster said that they didn't deliver nothing to that house. First of all, how the post office, if the post office knows that people are right. If the post office knows that they're sending people drugs, then there's something wrong with our post office. So that means the post office is in on sending people drugs. So yeah, the post office is going to say, yeah, I didn't send no drugs to our house. But in this day and age, you could get mail anywhere. So you can't go by that. So Breonna Taylor, this is also another thing. the boyfriend, if you read the papers, the boyfriend said they did knock on the door. They heard a knock on the door. Now ask yourself this. Breonna Taylor shot first. Breonna Taylor shot them when they came through the door because she hit one of the police officers. That's facts. That's facts. That's why they was going to charge the boyfriend with attempted murder. She hit one of the police officers. And you might be like, why are you saying she? Because how can 20 shots be fired in the hallway, hitting her 8 times, but not hitting the boyfriend once? How can the police officers fire 20 shots, somehow hit Breonna Taylor 8 times, but not hit him once? He was on the phone in the bedroom with 911 calling someone saying that the police officers was breaking through the door, that someone was breaking through the door. And that's another story for another time, because you got a lot of black men out here that are cowards, because I would be dead before she would have been dead, because I wouldn't allowed her to go to answer the door even though it's her house. Breonna Taylor fired the shot. He would have to be like Usain Bolt, faster than Usain Bolt, 20 times faster than Usain Bolt, to duck 20 shots and not be hit once. 20 shots. They hit her 8 times. They at the door shooting in the hallway. 20 shots. They hit her 8 times but don't hit him once. And y'all saying he fired the shot? So after the shot was fired, they started firing back. They didn't pause and be like, after that man was hit, they started shooting. You wouldn't have had time to run. He would have been hit in the back. They fired 20 shots, and I'm sure the shots was going up on all 3 levels. So he would have been hit somehow. That man wasn't hit one time. He was not charged with attempted murder because they did not think he fired the shot. They knew who fired the shot. He fired the shot. What hasn't came out in it, where did they find the gun? That's going to come out in court. Where did they find the gun at? If you fire at police officers when they're entering the door, they have the right to fire back at you. So it's not an injustice. It's more of some shit that went south. It's some shit that went south. They said that the man they was looking for was in jail, which is correct, because they was looking for Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend, who they served a no-knock warrant on simultaneously as they went to Breonna Taylor's house. So they locked that man up, but they was also looking for Breonna Taylor in conspiracy to sell drugs. She was part of it. So it's like black people, y'all running around here saying lock the police up, lock the police up. Well, it was something that went south. The only thing that really needs to be changed is how warrants are served. But far as people being locked up, she fired at them first. And actually, I have experienced this. Family member of mine, and it's a sad story to tell, went out with some friends and they tried to break in a drug dealer's house. When they kicked the door in, the drug dealer started shooting and killed my family member. Was that the drug dealer's fault? Was that, you know, like, so it's like, it's something that went south. It's just something that went south. You know, Breonna Taylor was selling drugs, and unfortunately they was coming to get her off the streets because she was selling drugs. That's why they was coming to get her. If Breonna Taylor, it's not a Miss Jefferson situation in Texas where they was doing a welfare check and that cop should go to jail. These people was coming to get Breonna Taylor because she was doing a crime. She was not innocent. She was doing a crime, and they was coming to get her off the streets. If you know anything about Louisville, Kentucky, it's very flooded with drugs. So they was trying to get the drugs off the streets. So they was coming to get her. And she fired at them, and they fired back, and they killed her. So we can't run around here saying, what about Breonna Taylor? Because the most that happened with Breonna Taylor has happened. They have got rid of no-knock warrants. They can't put no one in jail because they did not intend to kill Breonna Taylor. They did not intend to get in a shootout with Breonna Taylor. If you even look at the transgender, that transgender killed somebody. So I can't even run around here and say his life matters because he killed somebody. What about the person he killed? What about their life? Oh, their life don't matter because he was killed by a black person. See, that's the thing in the world. If I would have killed Breonna Taylor, if I'd have broken Breonna Taylor's house looking for them drugs that I knew she sold, I would have killed her. No one would have been like Black Lives Matter, Breonna Taylor. No one would have cared. Breonna Taylor would have just been another dead black woman. 22% of all homicides in America are black women. So, but what about those 22% of people who have died because they wasn't killed by the police? Where is the outcry for the 1-year-old, the 3-year-old, the 16, the 10-year-old, the 2 16-year-olds that was killed in Chicago? Where's Black Lives Matters for them? Because they wasn't killed by the right people. If they would have been killed by the right people, then Chicago or wherever these kids are being killed would have been flooded with people saying Black Lives Matter. Why are you going to the mayor's house in St. Louis when you know what's happening in St. Louis? 37 black kids have been killed by stray bullets in St. Louis, but yet no one has broken that community to go to the mayor's house to ask them about that. But yet you want to go to the community, to the mayor's house and ask him about Black Lives Matter? When in St. Louis, as a black person, you're more afraid of black people than you are the cops. But why hasn't anyone broke into the mayor's house to go ask them about that? Minnesota wants to, D tells me 50 black kids. Okay, 50 black kids, thanks D. 50 black kids have been killed in St. Louis, but yet where is Black Lives Matter questioning that? So it's all about who kills you. It's all about who kills you. Stray bullets are going off left and right. And the 4th of July is coming up. And I would tell you to get away from your window because bullets are going to be flying. Because the 4th of July is on a Saturday, even though we're in a pandemic. From Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and probably a little bit into Sunday, 4th of July is going to be off the hook. I'm dreading hearing the number of shootings coming out of Chicago this weekend. I'm really dreading it. I'm hoping people have got the message and said, let's stop killing each other after that 1-year-old has got killed. Because if the current fad keeps going, it's going to be a bloodbath this weekend in Chicago. It's going to be a bloodbath. And if I was in Chicago, St. Louis and Chicago, they all have violent histories. But whereas Black Lives Matter to like end that? They have and D, you can type in because you're from St. Louis. St. Louis has a lot of poverty. But where is Black Lives Matter to deal with that poverty? And again, like I said, I'm dreading what happens in Chicago, St. Louis, Atlanta, all the cities, all the major cities with black people in it. I'm really dreading hearing the number of killings. Because this is another thing y'all don't realize. They also race baiting, but to combat the race baiting, they're highlighting black people killing black people. That's combating the race baiting of Black Lives Matter and people protesting and marching because they want to highlight black people killing black people too. So the media is a sheep and wolf. The media is basically playing both sides. One side they talking about Black Lives Matter and how they protesting, and then they telling you about how black people are killing themselves. So the media is trying to please both two sets of audience. People who are in favor of Black Lives Matter and people who don't care about Black Lives Matter. Which brings us to Elijah McCain. You know what's the hypocritical thing about Elijah McCain is? That a kid like Elijah McCain would not even be accepted in the black community. A kid like Elijah McCain would be considered a weirdo. And it's crazy because his own peers, people who look just like them, and they go home and kill themselves. But yet we haven't heard outrage for that. I have put on this page a story of a 10-year-old ostomy bag, went home and killed herself. A young lady was bullied because she didn't wear fashionable clothes. She was killed. She killed herself. A young man was bullied. Another young lady was bullied because her skin was too dark and she went home and killed herself. So in the black community, if you're considered an outcast, you are teased and ridiculed. So much to the point that you might want to take your life. But now we're out here yelling justice for Elijah McCain, knowing that those type of kids get bullied in the black community. The only reason we're asking for justice for Elijah McCain is the mere fact that it happened in police custody. Because if you cared for kids like Elijah McClain, and I only bring this out because people want to bring out the fact that he was an introvert, that he had some weird tendencies. But so do these kids who are killing themselves. But you don't care about them kids. But if those kids was to happen to get killed by the police, then all of a sudden we would be yelling Black Lives Matter. But when it's our kids that are out here bullying them, we don't say nothing. We don't speak up to say, hey, my kid bullied that kid that killed himself or killed herself. So, but we don't do that. And you know what's crazy? Those kids who killed themselves left a lasting effect on the kids that bullied them. Because the kids that bullied them have to live with the fact that they made someone kill themselves. So you might not see it, but that's inside of them. And every day they have to live with that. They have to live with the fact that they hurt someone so bad, that they teased someone so bad, that they killed themselves. But we don't care, because we only care when black people are killed by the police. Because if y'all really want justice, black women are likely 2 times to 9 times likely to die in the medical system. But where are we at demanding change in the medical system? We're not doing that. We're demanding change in the police force, but we're not out here demanding change for the medical system. We're not saying, wait a minute, hold on. And you know what? Before I go there, this is the fucked up thing. Normally, these people who are killed by the police bring police contact on themselves. I'm not saying they should be killed. I'm saying they normally do something that bring police contact on themselves. When these women go to the hospitals and they're dying, these black women go to hospitals and they're dying, they didn't do nothing. They wasn't doing nothing illegal. They was just doing what is an American right to go to the hospital. But when they get to the hospital, they encounter some doctor, no matter the race, because even black people don't listen to black women. And they don't listen to them, and they die. But where is black people to say, hey, wait a minute, we need to reform the medical system? Because more black women are killed in the medical system than black men are killed by the police in a year. But we're not saying Black Lives Matter for that. Our kids are suffering from PTSD. That's why they can walk around here and kill someone because they asked them how tall they was. Because they walking around with a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and they don't feel nothing when they take someone else's life. But where are we to say Black Lives Matter? But as soon as one of us gets killed by the police, or it appears as soon as one of us gets killed by the police, and I say appears because I don't want to take away from anyone out there who is fighting to make the community safe from violence, because there's a lot of activists, a lot of groups out there that are fighting to keep the community safe from violence. And I am in support of you, and I am saying this for you, because when you ask for help, you don't get help. When you ask for people to come out and form their own group, but let a cop kill somebody, and then you don't even have to ask people to be outraged. People just get outraged. Exactly. If black lives don't matter to us, that's what D said, why should they matter to other people? Why to recognize our lives? Why? Who does that? Only people backed by our 400-year-old enemy. Why are we asking these people to make our lives matter? We should make our lives matter. Our lives should matter to us. Our community should matter to us. We shouldn't be out here complaining what white people are doing when we're the ones throwing trash in the community. When we're the ones spending our money foolishly. We're doing all of this stuff to ourselves, but then we get mad when the police do something to us. And then the police are only in our community because of what we're doing to each other. The police are not in our community If we wasn't doing nothing in our community, there would be no reason for the police to be in our communities. Look at the city of Chaz. The city of Chaz was supposed to be this great utopia. 3 black men have been killed in the city of Chaz. That's the city of Chop. That's that in Seattle where they took over those blocks. 3 black men. But they got pictures of black people killed by the cops, while 3 black men have been killed in that city by the cops. I mean, not by the cops, by regular people. And y'all say y'all want to get rid of the cops to get security guards. What if a security guard kills a black person unjustly? Then what? Don't you think a security guard is more likely to kill someone unjustly than a cop? It's because a security guard is just a private citizen with a job. He's not an oath. They're not like police officers. And you and I both know that security guards are the most disrespected people in the black community. That when black people see security guards, they like, get your rent-a-cop ass away from me. So we both know what's going to happen when security guards start roaming around in the black community. We all know what's going to happen. So my point is, basically, black people, we got to make Black Lives Matter to black people. You know, stop following these people. These people, this riots, these protests have came from powerful people. And I explained it in another video how this stuff was not grassroots. This stuff is not grassroots. This is not grassroots. This stuff is people. Exactly. If we get rid of cops, the criminals will take over. And the same people who want to get rid of the cops want to take away your gun. So basically, you can't take away a gun that you don't know that exists, because that's what criminals got, guns that don't exist, because their guns are not registered. So when you come to take away registered guns, you're basically going to leave the people helpless, and the criminals will just know that you ain't got a gun, so they'll bust in your door, or they'll put us on concentration camps in the name of vaccinating us. With that said, as I close, I hope y'all checked out a video I have on this page where in Texas they was talking how they relabeling people to say they have coronavirus. They was trying to say that if you got 1 major symptom and 2 minor symptoms, that they're automatically going to say you have coronavirus. So they're not even testing you. If you have say if you got a cough, if you got a fever, they were saying even if you had a mild fever and you had a stuffed up nose and loss of taste, they was going to say you had the coronavirus. You could just have the flu. See, so these people are not even trying to test you no more for the coronavirus, which I'm not saying isn't real. I'm saying they're trying to make the numbers go higher and higher and higher. So check that video out. I thank you for listening. Stay tuned to the channel. It's not for I want to go famous, because I want you to stay tuned, because we're trying to put together a wealth movement. It's going to be basically for us, by us, where this is like St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit, buy up houses, give them to people, because land is wealth. And if these organizations that say they are leading black people are not talking about wealth, stop following them. So stay tuned for that. Check out the video I put on about Texas. And also, I got a book out. This is how I make my money. I write a book. It's not a book about political. It's a urban thriller story. Check that out and go get that. That's how I make my money. I'm not trying to take any money in donations. Just stay tuned for the wealth movement that we're putting together. Hopefully you'll want to join. If you want to join, message me on this page, and I'll give you more information, because this is grassroots. It is just starting. It is just starting. It is grassroots. There's not politically affiliated, and it is not getting backing from anybody. This is something we're going to do for us, and it's going to be done by us.